Thank you, AI bot. Welcome. For those of you in the room and those of you online, I hope you can see me on that little camera there. This is the Artist at the Center awardee, team. First off, congratulations for receiving this grant through the Artist at the Center program. I am Pete Rush. I work for Seattle Center. I'm an arts program specialist here.
I'm Frimmel. I am the grants project manager for this grant program, as well as Arts and Parks and Civic program at the Office of Arts and Culture.
And as you'll learn, this is a joint program between Seattle Center and Office of Arts, and Zach and I are your 2-point persons. I with for Seattle Center and Zach at the Office of Arts. I think why don't you start us off?
Yeah, so basically, as Pete mentioned, we've got a partnership between the Arts Department and the Seattle Center staff, and then the artists, the awardees, and that is you all. Again, thank you all for being here. So we're going to go around and just let people kind of give introductions. So how to do this in an orderly fashion?
Let's start in the room.
We start in the room.
And then we'll go to the screen.
Yes, we'll have you share your name, if you're with an organization, share the organization, and then also a one-sentence description of the project that you got awarded for. And
Like a teaser, just like, you know.
yeah. That's not
good. Start here? Yes.
Oh, great. Hi, everyone. My name is Shadi. I just our name and a sentence description, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And my project is a musical theater song cycle that explores different stories from the immigrant community here in Seattle.
I'm Cece, she, her pronouns, and I'm with RARE, which stands for the Roosevelt Alumni for Racial Equity. And the one sentence is, come watch a film about race relations within our education system and the history of redlining and volunteer busing in Seattle, and also an in-person component that will blow your minds. Yep. Oh, yep, there it is.
I'm teased, for sure.
And I'm colloquially also with RARE.
Okay, thank you.
That's a way better intro than I would have done.
Hi guys, my name is Picasso Broom. I'm with Project Convergence, which is a dance company that was started in New York, where I used to live for a long time, but now I'm back in Seattle, my hometown. The company has a team of tap dancers and a few classical Indian dancers, so all our work involves both styles. We have a touring show in New York, but we just started our Seattle company, and so we will be debuting our full-length show at the Center with the Seattle company, which we're super pumped about. So excited to be back home and reconnecting with wonderful artists in Seattle, which is way better than New York. So.
Excellent.
Hi, it's Varian Open. My name is Varian, but I'm tracking here locally for like 6 or 7 years. I also do burlesque as well. I started like an all black and brown burlesque troupe called Burlesque Babes, and basically the grant is helping us put on a full-length production. So.
Hi, my name is John B, and I'm a jazz musician. And this grant is letting me produce a show of my own original jazz compositions, and it's called "What Does Home Mean to You?" So stay tuned.
Let's go. I think Nyla, you're the first one that I see on the screen.
Awesome. Please excuse the background driving noise. Good evening. My name is Naila Bully. I am the producer of Oni Arts Collective. We are a cultural arts organization that is pushing and promoting cultural arts, hands-on activities and experiences for families and youth, just trying to keep culture going. Culture as far as African American culture and West African culture. I like to mix West African with other genres of dance and music to create new futuristic things. And so my project is going to be based on a production that I am putting together called 33rd Avenue, where West African meets hip hop. So.
Excellent. Thank
live
you.
music and dance. Yeah.
Thomas, I see you next.
Hey everybody, excited to be here. I'm Thomas. I play in a band called Day Soul Exquisite. My bandmate Zora is here too. And we are planning a performance at Seattle Center called Central at the Center. That's going to be involving a partnership with Awardee, where our singer Francesca works. And it's going to be an interactive musical performance centering the voices of especially Black residents in the Central District, talking about home ownership and fighting displacement there.
Awesome. Zora, do you want to add anything to that? Introduce yourself at least.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Zora. I'm here with T, and yeah, nothing really to add. Just glad to be here.
Excellent. Thanks for being here. Megan from SIF is next.
Hi, I'm Megan Garbayo Lopez, colloquially known as MGL. I'm the education manager at SIF, and my grants manager, Caroline, is here with me. We are doing a sort of like a live score to a bunch of the crazy avant-garde films my middle schoolers make at summer camps and day camps. So it'll be like a live orchestration to their silent films, which should be fun.
That sounds great. Marco.
Hi, everybody. Live from 12 Avenue Arts, one of the dressing rooms. I have a show reset tonight. But I am an independent artist. I am part of a collective.
Oh no. Your audio's cutting out.
Here in Oregon. Oh, sorry, dressing room, so probably internet things. Anyways, also a fellow the spatial flag histories too, focusing on
Hey, Marco.
Thanks, Marco. We lost a lot of your sound on that. If I may, just from what I remember from, you're maybe moving to a better place.
Yeah.
Marco is a dance artist, the choreographer, and is proposing a dance piece that I think it centers around water, but maybe I'll let you correct me.
Sound.
Yeah, your audio's still not. Yeah, sorry. Maybe if you cut out the video. Try. Maybe we try one more time.
I'll.
Great. That sounds good.
I'll type in the chat.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's. Roger.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Hi. My name is Roger Rigor, and I represent the Ihaw Ihaw Jam Band, a collective of Filipino American band members who have been together for the past 20 years, playing at Seward Park. It is our opportunity to finally be part of the Seattle Center. We will be presenting the history of original Filipino music, contemporary Filipino music, as it is framed against the Western culture influence.
Excellent. Thank you. Shell is next.
Hi, I think I'm speaking for yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Something
We're Campus of Hope Foundation, and what we're going to have artists that will the artists to be determined. We're that will be performing, and we're diving into the culture of hip hop. And merging with local ideas, urban fashion, and designers.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Who's next? Dr. Marlene Holmes?
She's with us.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm also with them.
Okay. Thanks for joining us. Lady A. Oh, we're not hearing you.
Are you on? Maybe you're on mute. Oh, no, now you're on mute. Your sound, your sound setting. Are you, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, we can't hear you.
Do us a favor, maybe type an introduction into the chat and then we'll read it off. While maybe you can continue to troubleshoot some sound.
Thank you.
Let's move on to Heidi, I think is next.
Hi everyone. My name is Heidi Grace Acuna. You can call me Heidi. I use they, she pronouns. And I am creating a fashion-based multidisciplinary show with a bunch of collaborators titled Living Waling Waling, which is based in reverence and adoration, inspiration to the Philippines orchid Waling Waling. Yeah, and we'll have some fashion pieces, music, sculptural items, lots of components going on. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Do we have Gavin?
Hi, this is Gavin. I'm with the Thistle Theater. We are a puppet theater, and we're going to also he, him. We are going to be presenting our puppet show of Gingerbread Boy at the Seattle Center.
Awesome.
Thank you,
What's
Gavin.
Daniel, I have you next.
No, Daniel. There we go. See your video.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now.
Great.
Yes, we can.
Sorry about that. Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm here representing Daiko Boko Taiko. We're a Japanese cultural music group. We play on really large, really loud drums. And we'll be putting on a show that features both traditional and modern taiko pieces.
Awesome. Who was that? Siri?
Hello, everybody. My name is Siri Wood. I do the administration for a dance company called Gansango Music and Dance. And I'm here representing Gansango in a collaboration with Bahia in Motion. We're going to be presenting a pop-up dance performance at the Seattle Center with a workshop component. And this will explore the historical connection between West Africa and the Afro-Brazilian culture of Bahia in Brazil.
Thank you. Julia.
Hi, folks. Julia Kearns Welch. I'm also joined here by Sarah Litchfield, also from the opera. We are excited to bring our all ages performance of Earth to Kenzie to a huge community on an outdoor, maybe an outdoor stage at Seattle Center. We do a 45-minute all ages show that's around accessible topics in our community. And so this one in particular deals with housing insecurity through the eyes of a 5th grade kid who dives into video games as she kind of processes what's going on around her. So yeah, I'll let Sarah follow with more detail.
Hi, everyone. This is Sarah. Thanks, Julia. I think that's a pretty good explanation of the program. But yeah, this is a part of our school opera tour program. So this piece will be touring throughout schools and communities this spring to about 60 to 70 different venues. And so it's a opera specifically written for youth. And that's what we'll be doing.
Excellent. Is that everyone on TV?
Naked? No.
Let's read the chat because I think Marco and the Lady A have
Yes,
written something. Let's read those loud. Okay. Lady A, I'm Lady A, singer-songwriter, storyteller. I'm producing Lady A's Welcome to the Porch at Seattle Center, an all-inclusive audience learning participation show that welcomes the audience to learn as my trio performs about not the artists, but the lyrics we sing from blues to gospel. You never know who will be on the porch. Marco is a dancer, maker, oral historian, member of Black Collectivity and Wanawari's Black Seattle Spatial History Institute. Marco will be sharing an iteration of their work that focuses and honors the Black presence in Madrona Beach and the Bathhouse, now home to Spectrum Dance Theater. Okay, everyone? All right, thank you. Now we all know what we're doing. It sounds really exciting. Let's move on. I think actually that gets you.
Okay, so big picture, again, this is all information that you can kind of just use for context. So the Arts at the Center, it's a yearly series of free pop-up performances across the Seattle Center. Focuses on emerging and historically underserved artists. It's an annual grant offered yearly. It's a competitive application process, as you all know. We've been provided $100,000 per year for 10 years, thanks to the Climate Pledge Arena and the Seattle Kraken. And this is the 4th year of this installment of the program. Our other partners, other than Arts and Seattle Center, are also the Uptown Arts and Cultural Coalition up here in Uptown. So partnership roles. So for me over at Arts, I will handle all of your contracting after the orientation. I'll handle your payments and your final reports. And then any of the evaluation materials after that. Pete, you'll be working with to set up booking, tech and production, day of show logistics, and execution, and any marketing and promotion for your event. And then thanks to the Uptown Arts and Culture Coalition, they provide photo documentation of performance as well as additional marketing support for you all. Our arts department can also do some additional outreach outreach and promotion as well for your show.
Sure. So
Yes,
sure. This is sort of weird talking to this, yes, but I'm going to be like right here. So now you've received this award. Here's our next steps. We want to finalize the seasonal schedule. There are 21 artists who have received this grant, and we want to spread this throughout the coming year. And the coming year for us means essentially November of this year through September of next year, which means that there's a fall slot, a winter slot, a spring slot, and a summer. We have gone ahead and kind of figured out where we think your acts will go, and we'll show you that. And I think we may have communicated that. So we'll look at that schedule and see if that works, or if we need to sort of swap around and change things. But it's roughly 5 or so acts a season is how that works out. moving forward, you'll continue to work with the Office of Arts and Zach on anything dealing with contracts, dealing with setting up yourselves to get paid through that Flux system. That Flux system is the platform that you applied for originally. You'll continue to go back to that platform to do all of the business and administrative work related to this program. Then when that's all taken care of, then you'll talk to me to schedule a scope meeting. We'll get together one-on-one. I'll hear your big dream. We can look at spaces. We can figure out what resources Seattle Center has to offer, and otherwise hone in on how that production is going to look. We'll schedule a performance date and start to get the tech and information sort of rolling. And then it's up to you to sort of go off and create and come back to us ready to do something. Again, our performance seasons, fall is October through December. The reality is we're almost at the end of September, and we need kind of a month lead time to get reorganized. So I don't know that we're going to see a lot that happens in October. So really, we could think of fall as probably November, December of this year. The winter is January through March of next year. Spring is April through June, and summer is July through September. Because Seattle Center has like hundreds of events that are happening all the time, it's difficult for us to understand what our summer season looks like next year. So I will be doing like a rolling booking process where those of you who are in the fall, I'll deal with you first and we'll get you booked right away. Those of you who are in the winter, starting in late October, November, I'll be able to start talking to you about the dates that you want. Similarly, spring, starting around January, we'll start talking, and for summer events, we'll start talking in like maybe even the end of March, but April. Now, if anyone needs to settle their date sooner than that for multiple reasons, we can certainly talk about it and work toward that. Depending on the space that you want and so on, we can have some assurances of what's available, or at least we can tentatively get something on the books. So again, I will be reaching out to you on a rolling basis to book your event. But if this time that I'm supposed to reach out to you doesn't work for you, just let me know and we can talk sooner. Here's how we've broken things out. Roosevelt, Alumni for Racial Equity, Anita White, which is Lady A, SIF, and Thistle Theater in the fall slot. Any one of those four need to raise their hand and be like, nope, can't do it. Lady A raised their hand. Have we, is it sound? Yeah. Are we able to work out sound? Check the chat. No formal work. Okay. I will reach out to you after this meeting, or maybe at the end of this meeting, we can chat more.
Thanks for listening.
Winter slot, SIP would prefer winter. So my next question is to anyone in this call or in this group, does anyone want to move to fall? Okay. Winter we have variant here. Bahia Motion is online. Krubel Amari, I apologize if I'm butchering your names. And I believe it's Naila Bully. Did I hear that correctly earlier? Canvas of Hope, and Pamela Yasutaki. Any issues from those groups?
Just a quick question.
Confirming that time works for IE and motion.
Thank you. Thank you.
There were several venues we've seen on the previous video. So do we work with you to figure out which one will work correct? Okay.
You do it, yes. And I'll get to some venues in just a second. Pete.
Pete.
I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
I fixed it. Okay, sorry. Great.
So Lady A Fall won't work, but is there another season that you were hoping for?
Yes, yeah, sorry. I can do winter of 25, but I was looking more towards spring of 25. Early spring. I don't know how it works.
Okay. We'll get in touch. This is a big puzzle, a little bit of math that has to happen.
Right.
So once we know what we're dealing with, we'll come up with a different schedule and let everyone know.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good to see you. Let's move on to our spring roster. Shouty is here. Seattle Opera, Heidi Grace Acuna, Alice Ghosti, John V, and Cito Tonali. Is Cito? Are they here in the house? Okay. Then summer would be La Femme Records, Decaboko, Marco, Ia, and Project Convergence. Any issues with the spring summer cohorts? People are good with that? Okay. Great.
I'll just let you know we can move to spring if it's useful for your puzzle
I
project.
think right now I need people to move to fall. So if anyone's really shocked that they would move to fall, yeah, raise your hand. If not, I think I'll probably just juggle amongst the rest of the months.
Thank you for confirming tolerance.
Great. Okay, next slide. So I'm going to go through a lot of different options to you that are available to you for this performance. Because these are pop-up performances that are intended to sort of surprise and delight the folks who are here at the Seattle Center, we like to book them generally when there is lots of activity on campus, when there's either an event at Climate Pledge Arena or a small event here in the Armory, or maybe something else happening on the grounds. So there's a built-in audience. And so that as people are coming and going to campus, they might stumble upon what you're doing and be like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? Let's stop and watch for a while. So because of that, a lot of these performances tend to happen in outdoor spaces where the bulk of the public is walking around. But we do have some indoor spaces that we can consider, especially if your performance requires that. And you can consider these either as a small, medium, or large act. And that could refer to both the size of the group of people who you're bringing, but also the scale of your production. If it's, a trio playing music and you just take up a small footprint, we would consider that a small. If you are a 15-person band with dancers and models and fashion designers, that's probably considered a large act, right? Medium would be somewhere in the 5 to 6 person range, potentially. We have some spaces that are more conducive to small, medium, and large. The small includes Thomas Street, Monorail, and the Fisher Rooftop. I'll show you images of all of these in just a second. Medium locations include Theater Commons, the Northwest Courtyard. There's both an upper and a lower area there. Artist at Play and International Fountain. And large acts tend to work best on our established stages, which is here inside here at the Armory or outside at the Mural Amphitheater. Now, even if you are a small act, if we determine that a large venue is best for you, we can totally do that. Or vice versa. Your venue does not need to match the size of your group. It's just generally some spaces are larger than others and are more conducive to that. Let's look at some pictures. Here's a campus map. The red refers to our large venues, the Armory and the Mural. The blue includes International Fountain, the Northwest Courtyard area, Theater Commons over here, and Artists at Play, which is next to our big playground. And some of our smaller venues, we've done some performances right around the monorail station, not necessarily on the platform, but kind of right outside of it. Thomas Street, which is this street that runs all the way from what is this, South Lake Union to the arena is a great place for small sort of pop-up performances. It's a main thoroughfare through campus. And then Fisher Rooftop, the Fisher Pavilion is an indoor space, which may be available sometimes for performances. And the roof of it is actually a courtyard plaza, and that's also a good place to have some small. And now we get to the pictures. Sorry. Oops. Well, more pictures. The next one here. An example here at the left of the Fisher roof, this open plaza right here. Common Pledge Arena is right over there, and the Armory is right here for those of you who have. This is an example of the ramp leading up to the monorail. And Artists at Play, there's several different spaces, one of which is this step unit, which could be used either as a stage, or you can have audience on those, and you could perform in front. That's an option. Some medium-sized spaces. On the left-hand side, you're looking at the Northwest Courtyard. There's the upper section, which is right outside the KEXP gathering space. There is a built-in stage there. It's about roughly 20 by 20. That's what that picture is showing. And then the lower Northwest Courtyard is just more of an open concrete plaza, which can be set up in a lot of different ways. Artists at Play Plaza, if you look away from those steps that we saw earlier, there is just a large open area there that can be performance. International Fountain, there's a lot of area both around the fountain and right in front of it. And Theater Commons is a little gem of a space that's located between Seattle Rep and Cornish Playhouse. It as well has some built-in tiered seating and steps, and then a performance area in the front of that. And then our stage spaces, the Mural Amphitheater, which is an outdoor space, and the Armory Stage, which is indoors and is essentially in a food court area. So lots of people, but also restaurant activity happening around there. Questions on any of those spaces? There may be other options available to you depending on what it is that you want to do. So, and we can talk about that. But generally, these are the spaces that have worked well for this program, and generally has a high concentration of people coming and going, so that you have an audience. Okay. Once we have scheduled a scope meeting and figured out your date, time, and location, we will start going through this checklist, which is the process. The scope meeting can happen in 2 ways. You can come to the Seattle Center, and you and I can walk around the grounds, and we can look at all the different spaces and talk together. That's a great way to do it. If you want, we can meet via video or Zoom or phone and talk through things that way as well. It probably will be a couple-week process in which we'll meet, we'll look at things, you'll go away, think about what it is you want to do, where, get back to me. Meanwhile, I'll be looking at potential dates in the range that you're looking at and throw you some options. And over the course of several weeks, then finally we settle on a location and a date time. Right. Once that's set, then I turn it back to you, and I will next want to hear from you about 6 to 4 weeks beforehand. We will ask you to submit a tech sheet. I'll give you examples of all of this stuff in just a little bit. That tech sheet tells us all of your technical needs, and that helps our crews be prepared for you. The city of Seattle requires that all vendors, which you technically as artists are a vendor in this situation, that you carry event insurance for the date of your performance. This is an insurance policy that covers you from injury, theft, damage to materials, any damage or injury to Seattle Center grounds or staff. Essentially, we just want to make sure that you as an artist are protected should anything go wrong, and the city of Seattle is not liable for that. I'll talk a little bit more about insurance in a second. We would love to have that insurance policy in our hands about 3 weeks or so before. Marketing information. I'll ask you for a series of marketing information, which helps us get the word out. You'd like that about a month in advance. And then once your performance is over, there is a short evaluation that goes along with the final invoice, which you'll work with Zach and Flux to submit that, and that's what triggers you getting paid. Let's dig deeper into each of these production requirements. Before that, we will send you this link, but on Seattle Center's website, there's a hidden page that's just for you, which is this resource page that has lots of information. And if you go to the next slide, there are a lot of links that you can download, a blank tech sheet, an insurance addendum. You can look at ground plans and some pictures of some of these different locations. There's our inclement weather policy. What happens if it rains on the day of your outdoor performance? That explains the process that we'll go through, et cetera. So this is a useful page for you to refer to as you're going throughout this process. Once we have your tech information, I will hand you off to an event representative here at Seattle Center. This is most likely a person named Paula Vega. It's Paula's job to interface between you and our stage crew and our sound technicians and video technicians and really do all the nitty-gritty technical production stuff. So she'll be in touch with you, asking questions and making sure that our crews know exactly what they need to do when you arrive on that day. And just note that Paula does all of the advance work, and often she's the person here on the day of the event, but sometimes we make the day of the event rep might be a different person who we've prepped and will be ready for you. This is a picture of what the tech sheet looks like. This is a document that you can fill out digitally and just send back digitally, or you can fill it out by hand and send it to us. You can also type something up if it's really complicated. It asks things like, do you need a dressing room space? Do you need to drive vehicles on campus? Do you need to park vehicles? We are able to offer free parking for you and your artists for this process. So we will ask you to let us know how many parking passes that you'll want. Do you need power, a sound system? What kind of microphones, monitors, lighting, projection, all of that, tech-y stuff. We'll ask you for that information on this tech sheet. As soon as you're ready, I'd love to receive it, but at minimum, we'd love to have it about a month in advance. The next thing, production support. So each of you received either a $2,000, $4,000, or $6,000 reward, right? That is money that you will get in full. At the end of this event, the office parts will cut you a check and it'll be $6,000. You'll run it to the bank. In addition to that, there's an additional secret pool of money that you get that doesn't ever go directly into your hands. This is money to cover your production expenses. So Office of Arts reimburses Seattle Center those funds. And it depends on your award. I don't think there are any $2,000 awards this year, so we'll just talk about 4 and 6. If you have a $4,000 award, that means you can spend up to $1,235 in production expenses. If you have a $6,000 award, that means you can spend up to $1,700. Basically, what that money will cover is labor. It'll cover sound technicians, video, stagehands, the people who set tables and chairs and so forth. Most of the equipment that Seattle Center has to offer, we own. It's in-house, so we can offer that to you for free. But if there is some sort of specialty piece of equipment that is essential that we might need to rent or purchase, then that would come out of that pool of money. So again, this is your production dollars, it's a separate pool of money that you don't ever have to worry about, but it does mean that the scope of what you do needs to fit within that money that's allotted to you, right? So our scope conversations when I'm talking to you and I hear your big vision, and I might come back and be like, amazing, everything you want to do, it's a little too much. I might ask you, find ways that you can, hone it in, scale back a little bit to get it to fit within that thing, the money, and then we'll be good. Or I might say, what you want to do is super easy. You easily meet that and have money to spare if you wanted to consider maybe souping it up a little bit. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about what production resources are available to you. This is not a comprehensive list, but this is generally a standard list. For those venues that don't have a built-in stage, we can set up some temporary staging. These are 4x8 platforms that you can put together in various formations. You can put several of them together to get larger spaces, but 4x8 increments. More often than not, everyone needs some sort of sound system, a PA, and we will provide you audience speakers, a mixer, monitors for your instrumentations, microphones, mic stands, music stands. All of that stuff is a standard equipment that we can provide. If you are music-based, the thing that you will be responsible for is your own instrumentation, obviously, and backline. If you have an electric guitar, bring your own amp. If you need a drum kit, bring your drum kit. We do have a piano available in the armory, but other than that, if you're in an outdoor venue and you need a keyboard, you would have to provide that. We can give you basic equipment like tables, chairs, stools, easels, if you need to display artwork of some sort. Some fencing or rope stanchion, if that's necessary. As I mentioned, we can make it possible for you to drive onto campus to unload things, and then we can make it possible for other cars to park in our Seattle Center garages. We'll provide some sort of dressing room space for you, depending on the venue that you're in. The labor to run all of the Seattle Center equipment, mostly sound equipment, is included to you. And what your budget really amounts to, if you think about it, is you basically get 4 to 5 hours total. And that means the moment you arrive, unload your stuff, do a sound check, do a spacing rehearsal, do the performance, take it down and leave, is roughly about 5 hours. That generally means the sweet spot for the performance length is about 60 minutes to maybe 90 minutes, right? An hour to an hour and a half is generally about as long as you want to go in order to allow enough time on the front end to do your loading and sound check and all of that stuff. Okay? Generally, load out goes a lot quicker, and often people can read them in 30 minutes, and it's no big deal. But keep that in your brain. 4 to 5 hours is sort of the total amount of time that you have to do this on site, right? If you need some special equipment, you want to bring in a crazy lighting system, or you want to bring in 25 projectors and splash them all over the fountain, you are welcome to do so. You'd be responsible for that equipment. And if you're bringing your own equipment, plan to have an operator, someone who will operate that for you. We can certainly give you power and interface with our equipment, but it's a good idea to have someone operating that.
Peter, you got a question?
Yeah.
Do you have like a detailed list that you'll send afterwards of like exactly what mics and stuff you have?
I don't know that we have that. You can generally, if you need a microphone, we have tap mics.
Okay,
for example.
We
do.
Yeah.
We could mic the floor for you. Yeah. Yeah.
Does every location have the same capabilities for like audio, miking, and everything?
Yes, the outdoor locations are, we set up the sound system there. And so we have portable sound systems that we can move from place to place to place. And they're pretty customized, depending on what you need. The Armory has a built-in system, so that if you have a very, very high audio, music program, that might be the best location for you. It's just going to make things easier, but it doesn't have to be. You know, the mural and especially the upper northwest courtyard are both really, really good for music as well. I'm not paying attention to chat, so if there are any questions, yeah, right here. What's the next slide? I think we go a little bit more into detail on this. Yeah. Yeah. This just gives you a sense of like, at the $4,000 level, the $1,235 that you have, here's a kind of what you could get. You could get some temporary staging. You could have some tables and chairs. You could have, 2 to 6 microphones, a small sound system, which is a mixer and a couple of speakers. You basically get 2 sound people at 5 hours each and 1 stagehand at 5 hours each. This is good for small bands, dance, theater, multiple performances, etc. A high level is probably 6 or plus performers. You get a larger sound system. This is good for larger bands or orchestras or a large theatrical or dance performance. Again, you get 2 sound folks for about 5 hours each. You have the option of a couple more stagehands if you're doing something more complicated. Again, monitors, sound system, tables, chairs, dressing room, all of that is standard. Does that give you a sense of scope and scale? Yeah. Each one of you is going to be totally different, and that's when we get together, we'll talk about it, and we'll figure it out. The Seattle Center does have a lot of resources, and we're happy to offer as much as we can to you within our means. Let's talk a little bit about projection. A lot of people are very interested in projection, especially those of you who are doing film screenings. The best venue to do a film or some use of projection is the Armory indoors at the stage. We have a giant LED screen that floats above that stage that can raise and lower to wherever you wanted it. And there's a built-in sort of system to run it. It works day and night because it's backlit LED screen. So that's probably your best option. If you want to do projection outdoors, it might be possible. The challenge there is your performance really has to happen at dusk or later in order for that projection to be seen in the bright daylight. And not all, I would say most of the outdoor venues don't necessarily have a lot of theatrical light or any sort of other light. So it's hard to do a performance, be seen, and also have projection. So projection generally works better indoors. Questions about tech?
Not strictly about tech,
Go ahead.
but about rehearsal space.
Uh-huh.
I know there's a lot of spaces here at the center. Some of them aren't maybe owned by the center, but is there any world in which like we could use a space for rehearsal if it wasn't being used by a paying client?
It's a good question. We don't make rehearsals. We don't give you time to rehearse in advance of that 5 hours, right? We do, expect that most of your rehearsal happens outside of the Seattle Center. There are Theater Fusion Sound is right above us on the 3rd floor in this building, and they do have rehearsal spaces. We couldn't offer you those for free, but they have a very affordable cost, so you could, rent those. It might be possible if, a few weeks before your event, I could arrange to have you and your crew come and work in your space for a couple hours, maybe. Okay. If nothing is happening there and you don't need anything, like if it's really just you in a blank space. But if you start to need like sound or staging or anything of that sort, then that's additional labor, and so that would come out of your performance. So the answer is maybe very, very small rehearsal, but generally I would encourage you to find other ways to rehearse outside of the space.
Okay, thanks.
Good question. Other questions?
Any questions in the chat? I don't see any so far.
All right. What else is next? I don't remember.
Insurance.
Oh. This is the feedback that we get from artists every year is this is the most frustrating and annoying piece of this process, and I agree that it is, and I apologize in advance. We will do our best to shepherd you through the system, but you must obtain a 1-day special event insurance policy that covers damage, theft, and personal injury. Again, this is designed to protect you, your artists, and your equipment. Your policy will list the city of Seattle as additionally insured for up to $1 million. There's an insurance addendum on that sheet that I showed you, or that website that I showed you. Download that, send it to the insurance company that you're working with. That sheet should tell the insurance company everything that they need to know and how to submit to the city of Seattle, that insurance company. For that, not our time budget, or is that? Good question. That does not come out of your in-kind. You should reserve some money from your real grant to cover that insurance policy. I see these as cheap as like $100, $150. Sometimes they can range up to $300, $400. It just sort of depends. As city workers, Zach and I cannot tell you, use this insurance company. We're not allowed to give an endorsement for a particular company. My advice to you is if you have an insurance policy with somebody, renters, homeowners, or something, contact them first and be like, hey, I'm an artist and I'm doing this performance. Are you able to provide 1-day event insurance? They might say yes, they might say no. If they say no, honestly, Google event insurance for artists, and you'll see a bunch of online places that will come up right away that you can do it all via online. And it feels like those are the least expensive policies that I'm seeing. And you can honestly do it probably within a day or so. So that's my best advice. If you're continuing to struggle, I can probably put you in touch with a previous artist who's done Artists at the Center. And maybe it's someone you even know, and you can just talk to them and be like, who did you use? And they'll yeah.
Very specific, we looked at it at the magazine. So we have an insurance problem with the City of Seattle. Would that cover this?
If you already have a policy that lists the City of Seattle as additionally insured, you just want to make sure that this new date and time of your performance is part of that. But if so, then yes, you would already be covered. Other questions?
I believe one of our partners has a question in the chat.
Okay, yeah.
Well, they were asking about vendors, if you can have vendors specifically to have closer items for sale.
Gotcha.
Could they also have a table?
Yeah. Depending on the scope of your thing, you could bring vendors in. We are able to provide, tables and chairs for them. We wouldn't be able to provide like pop-up booths or anything of that sort. That's something your vendor would need to bring if necessary. All vending that happens on campus, though, is subject to a commission fee. So if you're selling goods, you would owe the City of Seattle 15% of your total sales for that day, each vendor would. So there would be a separate form that I would send you that your vendors would fill out and submit along with, I guess, a check for that commission fee. So bear that in mind. You can have free booths, events of people giving things away for free, then you would not be subject to commission. Good questions.
Thank you for answering that. I just had a follow-up question. Is there a form, or how do we get that information of how we submit that 15%?
There is a form, and if you need it, I would send it to you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Other questions? This next slide just shows you an example of this is the insurance addendum that's online that you can download. This has the information about the insurance policy needs that you give to the insurance company you're working with. And then the next slide is an example of the form that we're looking for. This is the form that the insurance company will fill out. It'll down here, it'll say additionally insured, City of Seattle, and our address, and your information would be up here. That's just to give you a visual sense of what it is that you're looking for. My advice is the insurance policy is the thing that everyone forgets about, and it sneaks up on you. And so, once you have a date and time set, get on it right away and just get it out of it. And you can forget about it and worry about making notes. Again, talk to me if you have issues. Lady A, you have a question?
I don't know if I missed it because something was going on, but with the insurance policy, so do we pay for that out of the extra money, the production money, or out of the grant?
You should reserve money out of your grant to cover that insurance.
Okay, I wanted to make sure about that. Okay, thank you.
Yep. When it comes time to marketing, about at least a month in advance, I will ask you for the following things: the official title of your performance, a short description that we can use on our website and in promotion, a list of artists. Send us any social media handles, websites, anything that you want to point people to. We love a photo or two that's representative of your event, and that's pretty much it. And get that to us in about 4 weeks in advance. What we'll do is, next slide, we will create a bunch of marketing tactics for you. You will get your own page on the event calendar at seattlecenter.com. It'll be a great picture, a lot of information, link to more, a place to find out more about you as an artist. You will be featured the week leading up to your event on seattlecenter.com's homepage. We will create a Facebook event for you that you can put out there into the world. Seattle Center, Office of Arts, and Uptown Arts and Culture Coalition will do a series of social posts for you leading up to the event. We will have some signage. Windmaster is a name of a sign holder. It's a giant sign that sits in the ground. There'll be a sign at the location that says this is Artists at the Center. It will have a QR code that will link audience members to your website or wherever it is you want to go. We have across campus, we have lots of digital signs all over the place. As soon as we get your marketing info, the month leading up to your event, we are able to include that on the rotation of images that are on digital signage. As I mentioned, UACC and Arts Amplify Social, and then the rest is up to you. You know, certainly do whatever it is you want to do to market to your friends and family and lovers out there. We do ask that you properly credit the program as being part of Artists at the Center. And if possible, it's presented by Climate Pledge Arena, Seattle Kraken, Seattle Center, Seattle Office of Arts and Culture, and UACC. This is an example of, once I receive photos from you, we have some templates that you can see that are branded Artists at the Center. We'll plug in your photo and your information, and I'll send back to you a bunch of graphics like this that you can use on social media. And it's these tactics that we will use when we do posts ourselves and on our website. I think the
Okay.
template is last one.
Okay. So again, after your performance, you've done the thing, you've impressed all the people going through the sales center. This is when you want to hit me up. People send you kind of like a great job. Also, just like, here's who to contact. It'll be me. We're basically looking for you to go back into your Flux account and fill out your final invoice, which is also a final report. So we'll ask you for demographics like how many participating artists were part of your program, how many of them were paid artists, number of audience members. Pete will kind of give you a rough estimate for you in that email that he'll send. Number of youth, audience members, description of community served. So there's just a list of just data that we'll be collecting. And then images, there'll be a section for you to upload images for your performance. You can use, well, there's the, okay, I'll talk about that in a second. Sarah just asked a question in the chat too. So. Okay, cool. So you can have just images that you or someone from your organization are documenting the performance. You can upload those into your final report. And then we'll just ask you some just kind of evaluation questions, like anything that we can do to improve the program, any other things that types of professional development support that you'll need kind of in the future, as we kind of also, as the office kind of collects just artists at large data on how we can better serve you all in the community through different programming as well. And that's kind of the feedback for the city staff. And then any general reflections that you had, how it was, how your community was like impacted, and just reporting back on that. I missed the question.
Yeah, the question is about documentation. I neglected to mention this, so it was a good one. Our partner, Uptown Arts and Culture Coalition, does provide a still photographer. So there'll be a photographer at your event shooting the performance. And then they make those pictures available to you a few weeks afterwards. And you are welcome then to use those photographs, you know, for your own future purposes. However you want, we do ask that you credit the photographer who took them, and we'll give you that person's name. So that's a great thing. You'll get some high quality professional photographs of your event as a result of doing this. We do not have the ability to do video capture. So if you want your performance documented via video, you're welcome to do so, but that is equipment and personnel that you would need to arrange for yourself and pay for out of your grant money. We can certainly work with whatever video team you bring in and give them a feed or soundboard, for example, so they're getting high quality sound, and we can give them power, give them a small platform so that they're raised up or something of that sort. We can help facilitate that, but we don't have the ability to provide video capture. Does that answer your question? Great.
That's perfect. Thank you very much, both of you.
Welcome. I think that's kind of the end. So again, any other additional questions? And if not, Zach and I can stick around for a half hour or so and talk one-on-one if anyone needs to, both chatting or in person. But additional questions? Yeah.
Are there specific limitations to how we spend the grant money that you can clarify?
Do you have this spiel?
That's a great question. I'm trying to think. There are definitely a few things that you can't use it for. You can't purchase equipment, but you can rent equipment. You can't give gifts. So like if you're doing
Like gifts or prizes.
Or prizes, yeah.
You know, like if you're having a talent show and you're giving away $100,000 at the end, you can't use your grant money to be that $100,000, right?
Yeah. What are the other?
In terms of purchasing equipment, if you need costumes for this performance, you can use your money to purchase costumes for this performance, right? But if you're using this to purchase that fancy laptop that does this thing that you want to use for the future, that's not cool, right? You can purchase like materials and supplies that you're using for this particular performance, but not that, you know, SLR camera that you're then going to own for the rest of your life and use all the time. Does that make sense?
So follow up, so if you're renting something, would it have to be clear that it was like only rented the week of the before, or like can you use it leading up to the
Yeah, I think use it leading. I mean, the reality is we're not checking this. You know, I'm not going to look at your receipts. So yeah. The other things, you can only use up to like a portion of your grant for food. 10%. 10% of your grant you can use for food, hospitality for yourself, artists, whatever. We don't recommend that you feed the audience unless that's part of what you really, really want to do. Unless like the feast is your happening. And we can help facilitate that. There's going to be a little more hurdles for you to do that in terms of public health permits and other sorts of things, but we can talk through that. And what else can you not? You cannot use it for, you cannot use your grant money to make donations.
No donations, no fundraising.
No fundraising. Use the money for fundraising efforts.
Yeah, fundraising.
And I think religious services is in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, question.
So I just have a question. When then is the grant money actually allocated? Is it done when we have a scope meeting with you, or?
There's generally when you submit your final report after the performance is when you get your full payment.
Okay, so it's after the event.
After the event. Now you can reach out to Zach and be like, I need an advance. I need like partial payment up front in order to like get people on board and pay them to do work. And then there is a pathway to do that.
Yep.
Zach will work with you to figure that out. But you wouldn't get the full funds in advance. You can get maybe up to half.
You can get it 50% for basically planning and preparation. So keep in mind that that process takes anywhere between 2, 3, 4 weeks between like that processing and all. So
2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah. So if you know you need an advance, get on that soon before you actually need the money.
So is the in-kind fund, is that for like costuming and stuff? Like,
No, the in-kind would be your production expenses on site here. So
we need to like.
yeah, yeah. And again, that in-kind money you never see. It's money that Seattle Center tracks. You know, your performance cost $3,000. I'm being hyperbolic here, and then we submit a bill to the Office of Arts, and they reimburse us that $3,000.
But it doesn't come out of the grant.
Nope, does not come out. So if you have a $4,000 grant, you will receive $4,000. $6,000 for $6,000 grant. And then, you know, presumably you're using that $4,000 to potentially pay for insurance, to purchase some equipment and supplies for that particular event, and hopefully to pay yourselves and the artists that you're working with. Yeah.
And is there both sides?
Lady A will take your question next.
Actually, Daniel. Okay.
So I want to make sure I understand. So since we don't get the grant money until we actually do the performance, do we give you receipts and everything that we've spent money on?
No, the Office of Arts does not require you to submit any sort of receipts. Your final bill says, hey, I've done my performance, we're done, and then they'll cut you a check for that full amount of your award.
Okay, and then one more question.
I will say real quick, keep the receipts for yourself though. So receipts are for your own. Yeah. But you don't need to submit them to the Office of Arts and Culture.
To the office. Okay, I just want to make sure I understand that. And then for like marketing purposes and all that. But the other question I have is, since I can't do the show that I want to do in the fall, you know, in 2024, should I contact you later in a couple of weeks, or when should I contact you to find out a date that I can propose to you? Because I'm on a schedule.
Gotcha. I'm probably going to reach out to you tomorrow, Lady A, just to get the ball rolling. Because I at least want to pin down the season that we want to slot you in.
Yeah, because I don't want it to be when I'm not here.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's true of yourself. And it sounds like Sif. Was there another one? I think it was just Sif.
Yeah.
So Daniel has a question.
Yeah, Daniel has a question.
And then
I don't know why I can't see it.
Sorry, I lowered my hand for a second. I just wanted, I'm sorry to keep going back to this point on equipment and stuff. So like we're a drumming group, and you're saying it would not be appropriate for us to like improve our drums or purchase drum equipment for this show?
I think this is equipment that then you would continue to use over the next many years.
Yes.
Technically,
Yes.
that is not allowed.
That would be a no, yeah.
Okay.
But Daniel, I'm not going to ask you for receipts, and neither is I.
But
Understood.
you could pay yourselves pretty well.
You could pay yourselves a lot of money, and then you could use some of your fee to buy a new drum.
Understood. Great. Thank you.
So the final.
I have a question, is that?
Roger, go ahead.
Yeah. Heaven forbid this doesn't happen, but is there accommodation for if someone is contracts COVID, maybe a few days before, or any of that kind of situation?
Sure. Hopefully there's a way to work around it. It's the worst case scenario is we can postpone your event and schedule it sometime into the future, hopefully the near future. We do generally want at least 24 hours notice about that, just to like get the word out to the public as well as to any crew members who are working your event. It's generally, if the show can go on, we want the show to go on. If you're able to sort of not have that person perform, but have everyone else go, great. If that's not the case and that person is essential, or maybe the only person, then we would postpone.
Thank you.
There's Shelby here.
Oh, yes.
And we got
Two quickies. One, is there anything stopping us from sharing now that, you know, we'll have a performance of this piece in spring in Seattle Center?
Oh, sorry, missed it.
Is it okay for these people to start talking publicly about their performances?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll sometimes generally do a press release announcing to the world this cohort of artists, and I don't think they've done that yet. But I don't think that means
We haven't done that yet, but we've sent the declines. That's usually when, as long as we've sent the declines to the people who didn't get it, we just want to make sure they know before people start talking about it. But yeah, yeah, there will be a press release about it as well, but yeah, feel free to talk about it.
Well, for those of us who are in the fall 2024 cohort.
You want to start talking
Yep. Press release?
Yep.
Yeah, great, thanks.
Other quick one was, is there anything restricting us from having performances following our Seattle Center performance that are, you know, that we use the funds from our grants to prepare for in other venues that are paid performances?
I think the intent is that these funds go to cover this performance, this event, right? Now, if you're developing a work
Yes.
for Seattle Center that you're then going to represent somewhere else, that's fine.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And if you've developed a work that exists, the Gingerbread Man, for example, and you're just representing it here at Seattle Center, that's fine too, right? So the work that you do here is not, that's the only time you can ever do it. These funds help you to create that work that then you can continue to perform elsewhere.
Okay, great. So it's okay for it to have a life basically beyond this one, even if it's the same artist involved?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So real quick, on that final invoice saying that we have to pay certain amounts or such, what's the turnaround? So we submit the invoice and it's a week turnaround?
So when you submit the invoice final report to me, I'll get it, I'll review it, and then I'll approve it, and if it has to get approved by my supervisor then passes it over to the accounting department. So in that final invoice, there's language between that process taking between 3 and 6 weeks.
Oh, really? 3 to 6 weeks.
Welcome to the city of Seattle.
It's usually quicker when, I've never had it go 6 weeks, but that's just like, I think, just what it's time.
I think it's just, well, plus you can also sign up for direct deposit.
I don't know, can you?
I've done that in other city grant programs I've worked with. I think that's possible. I can check in about that. Yeah. I haven't done it through Flux yet, but I'm also about 5 minutes into the job, but I'll look into that because I know direct deposit is.
There's some general that can shave off a couple
Couple
weeks.
weeks. It is sure. It's a little pack for sure. I know there's some questions in the chat.
Well, yeah. What else is in the chat?
So Thomas asks, is there a limit / best practice on how much we pay to collaborating artists?
No, that's really up to you. You have a certain amount of money and you have a certain number of artists, and you sort of do the math to figure out what you think is fair.
Yeah.
We asked that both Seattle Center and Office of Arts, I think, would advocate for paying artists a decent, livable wage. But that really is up to you to determine.
Which I think in our Hope Corps program, which just kind of wrapped up application, I think in there was either $32.50 an hour or $37.50 an hour. As a livable wage, suggested amount for so that's a different grant program, but when they were gonna promote larger amounts of money, so they were suggesting that metric for any collaborators, and anything more than that, I think is generous or shows whatever other values you want to put on the dollar to people's compensation. But yeah, whatever is within the means, I guess, of the grant. But there's no limit. Again, we're not tracking how much you all paid. You paid yourselves or collaborators or anything like
Right,
that.
we will ask you how many artists got paid, but we
Yes.
won't ask you what they got paid.
Yeah.
Or how much they got paid. Is there another question?
There's one about inclement weather.
Was there another one about weather? Before we get to that one, Marco asked, can the payment be processed through a fiscal sponsor?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can, you basically set up your Flex account as that fiscal sponsor. And then the money would go toward that.
Right.
Would go directly to them and then they funnel it to you.
Yeah, yeah, we'll get that set up in Flux with your contract. Okay, thank you, Siri. We're logging off. Heidi's asked about, okay, could you speak about process for inclement weather for outdoor events?
Yeah, if it is an outdoor event, some of our venues have cover, not really. The Mural Amphitheater during the summer has cover, because we put up a temporary roof structure over it. The Northwest Courtyard has a portion of it that is covered. So if it's inclement weather, we have options. If the show can go on, if at all possible, even in like a gentle light rain or something, we would do that. If that's not possible, and there's another indoor space or covered space that we could shift the performance to instead, on that same day and time, that would be option number 2. Option number 3 would be to just outright postpone and pick a different day and time. But you know, weather is a factor, especially in this area in like the winter, fall, and sometimes spring. And so we should talk in your scope meeting about really how weather might really affect you. And we might choose to do something indoors as a result, if that's going to be a major liability.
One last question.
Mm-hmm.
So there's vendors, let's just say we have 34 vendors with the group. And you said if they were selling something, they would pay a 15% commission fee. The vendors would?
Correct. To the city of Seattle.
Yeah. So they would track their.
They would track their sales. And then 15% of that, they would then owe to the city.
To the city.
And there would be a form that I would provide to them
there's a form.
that tells them that.
Okay.
Yeah. And they submit their payment along with that form.
Okay.
And that's something just outside of the program, it's just like,
Yeah,
anytime.
that's any vendor on campus, no matter what, it kind of, those are the standard rules, yeah. Anything else?
That's how many applied for this. It's 21.
Yeah.
21 awardees.
This is the 4th year of the program. This is the least amount of people we've been able to award per year because there was 106 applicants.
106, I think, applied, 101 were eligible.
Okay, so then basically 100, and then we funded less than a quarter.
Yeah. Yeah, because the award amount was most people
a
were
lot,
able to
yeah.
for 6,000 as opposed to.
Very few people applied for $2,000 grants, and when you have more people applying for $2,000 grants, often you can squeeze in more groups. But we had a lot of $4,000 and $6,000 grants, and the selection panel met, and those are the ones that rose to the surface for them. And it was important to highlight. So as a result, we just have a little less than we had in the past. So congratulations on making that top 25%. Any other questions from the online space? Okay,
I think we got them all.
Great. Thank you all for coming. I will start reaching out real soon. A capacity for each size venue. Are you talking about audience capacity? I mean, it depends on the venue. Some of them are thousands and some of them are hundreds, but you can expect at least 100 people. I would say any venue, you can have at least 250 to 500 people. And generally, for these artists at the center pop-up performances, to give you a bit of expectation, unless you are like bringing them in, you know, you have like a wide network, you can expect like about 100 people, right? And you can expect people to come and go. You know, they're going to come, see something's going on, they're going to stand there a lot, and then, you know, as long as they're engaged, and then realize, you know what, the concert at Climate Pledge is starting soon, and then they'll leave halfway through. And then you have other people replacing them. So it's definitely going to be an ebb and flow kind of an audience. And generally, we see that when people start, it's like, oh my God, no one's here. The second you start making noise or doing something, then people start flocking. So don't be afraid when you start. There's no one in the audience. They will come.